But as we've talked about with some of the other trucks, it's how he turns at the end of the night that's going to determine if he is one of the finalists for this Nashville action on Motor Madness.
Well, coming up next, we've got Tom Mintz and Bulldozer.
Is he hot?
He's got another Keith Black engine as well.
Has not been beaten since he got behind the wheel of the Bulldozer. We saw him obviously take that checkered flag away from Dennis Anderson in Orlando. There have been other events that he has run that have not been televised. He has won every single race. He's got the checkered flag. Anderson wants it back, but believe me, right now Bulldozer's got both hands wrapped around that shaft. He's not going to let it go.
Hey, here's a guy who'd like to get that checkered flag tonight. Dan Patrick in Samson, 25 years in the business, 15 years of competition of driving these monster trucks, and he likes this type of course as well. You heard him say earlier in the show he thinks he can take it all here.
Almost surprised as we watched there. I'll tell you, Bulldozer actually nailed in there and got the faster qualifying time. But again, they don't have to turn at this point. Samson is such a great driver. Dan Patrick is on this type of course, and we'll see as the night goes on. But Bulldozer's just doing everything well right now. You know, Mike, as we watched Samson, I was kind of surprised all the talk in the pits that David Morris was the guy to watch. I think Dan Patrick's the guy to watch on this course. He is brilliant on Chicago-style roundy-round courses.
I was going to say the same thing. I think Dan Patrick is a man to watch tonight. Tom Mintz, though, he's hot. He's got that checkered flag on the back, as you can see. Is not going to go home very happy tonight. Not at all. There's Samson, Dan Patrick, and we told you earlier, he talked about how much he loves driving this style of a course. And you said it, Scott. You think he's one of the favorites, but so is Equalizer and David Morris. We heard from him as well.
You got the big guns, the big gorillas here with Gravedigger and Bulldozer, everybody watching that. But in the pits, the talk was, okay, you better watch Samson or you better watch Equalizer. Everybody seemed to like one of these two trucks, and fate would have it, they're going to meet early. Two of the best handling trucks, two of the best turning trucks on the circuit. One of them's going home early tonight. This is going to be a great race.
And you can bet that both are focused on that green light. Both get really good starts, so there's nothing wrong with the lights. Oh, uh-oh.
That's a DQ.
That's it. Samson's going to win.
Equalizer knocked over the sonotube.
Yeah, the sonotube goes down, and David Morris is disqualified. It'll be Dan Patrick and Samson winning this round. That's just a plain mistake. And Samson had it beat anyway, in fairness to Dan Patrick, but it was over at that point for our purposes once that got knocked down, and he ran right over it. I mean, just trying to make that turn too tight, and that's what happens sometimes. Sometimes you brush one and you can try and talk your way out of it with the official. It doesn't work very often, but boy, that was no doubt. He just mauled that sonotube. You got to leave the turning posts where they are. It's, you know, it's part of racing. You got to stay in your lane and on your course, and Dan Patrick does it brilliantly here. What a smooth turn. He really made the turn tight, got right back in the throttle, and did a super job. Dan Patrick, who wins this round and will advance on. You know, Dan's got to love this. Everybody's talking about Gravedigger. Everybody's talking about Bulldozer, and he's just going to sit out here and try and knock people off all night long. And you can see how tough he's going to be. If you're going to beat Dan Patrick today, you better bring a lunch. Yeah, there you see the two of them, and Dan Patrick, not many people better at all. David Morris here knows that he's disqualified. He's just seeing what he can get out of that Equalizer machine. He was still only about a half length behind at the finish, though. You know, as we talked about, David can drive this type of course, and he still showed it again, but the mistake cost him. Right there. But watch as he comes along, man. I think you're right. I think he knew it, but he decides to go ahead and run the race and run the course, because you never know what's going to happen. You never know if Dan's going to knock the pole down at the other end, what kind of ruling might happen. So he runs a good race, but it wasn't enough. Let's hear now from Dan Patrick, winner of that round.
It's a nice quarterfinal run, but now you get Digger in the semis. Nice award.
Well, to me, it'd be just like racing the final round, you know. He and I have raced a good bit this winter, and I haven't got him unless the non-televised events, you know, I've got him, but that's no good here, you know. It's a good course, you know. It's a hammer-down course, as you can see, you know. I think I didn't see it, but I had the barefoot truck almost went over. So, I mean, it's a very aggressive course, but it'll bite, like I said earlier, it'll bite you if you don't, you know, pay attention.
Well, barefoot almost went over. He won, but Predator with Pizzo on board was hanging by a thread, and he almost crushed that cab.
Well, you know, everybody, you know, ego racing is the worst, is the most competitive racing there is, even though we're racing for a purse and prize money. But when it comes down to the serious side of us, it's all about ego, and there's a lot of egos here.
You know, the thing with Tom, though, when Bulldozer, now he's won 14 straight races since Bulldozer with Tom have come on the circuit. You're probably better off going against Gravedigger in the semis.
Well, like I said earlier, I mean, there's no easy rounds here. I mean, no easy rounds. Tom is a very good competitor, and, you know, he has earned his ranks to come up and race here. Like you say, he's on a roll, 14 straight, and that's a hard roll to beat, but it'll get beat. Maybe we can do it tonight.
Samson's holding strong.
Yeah, other than a few little, just minor things, I mean, we're ready to go racing.
Go fix it.
Thanks, Dan.
You got it, Dan.
You can detect a lot of confidence in Dan Patrick and Samson about what's ahead.
I think he thinks he's going to win this thing tonight. No doubt in my mind. Boy, what a semifinal we're going to be looking at. But in the first round, you can see how the results came down. The big guns got the wins.
Yeah, we'll preview those semifinals when we return on TNN's Motor Madness Monster Jam.
$100,000 Pace Motorsports Championship point fund.
And Samson, who has made some great freestyling moves as well, is out. Oh, my. What's going here?
Power wheelie right there. Started in the corner. That's just raw power. To pick 10,000 pounds up like that on two wheels. That was awesome.
Mike Hogwood, Scott Douglas getting ready for the next semifinal run. There's Samson, strong. Many consider him the favorite tonight, but he's going up against a very, very determined Gravedigger in Dennis Anderson.
No question about it. This is Dan Patrick's type of course, and Dan has been brilliant, but Gravedigger can run on any course, and he's always a threat to win. And believe me, Dennis is motivated. He wants that checkered flag back off the Bulldozer truck. The only way he gets it is to beat Samson here and then go head-to-head against Tom Mintz in the final. But, boy, I'll tell you, it's going to take a great run to beat Samson.
Well, you see Samson love the look of this truck. Stays, and he is ready. They'll watch it go on the green light. And again, they run about a lap and a half. The finish is at the actual center of the course. After they've gone around a lap, they come back, and they'll be chasing each other in this roundy-round style. Both guys focused, knowing what's ahead of them here and how tough the opponent is, too. And I think that gets you fired up a little bit. Gravedigger and Samson, semifinal. We're ready.
It's going to be a dandy. Here we go as Gravedigger gets off the line, gets a little cockeyed.
Yeah, and there's Gravedigger, as you see, made a great job on the turn.
The tube went down. That's it. That's a disqualification on Gravedigger as the tube went down.
All right, well, maybe it's Samson who will be the winner then, as Gravedigger obviously with the disqualification. We'll wait and see the officials' ruling. We'll take a look at Samson's run.
Patrick comes through. Now watch in the turn. Nicely done. He comes around. A lot of power here as he comes over and got way off course there. Now that so you can see the pole was already mashed by Gravedigger. There is a question, though, whether Dan Patrick got both wheels up that first ramp. So you have to put both your front wheels up the ramp on a jump.
And if you don't do that, you're disqualified as well. There you see the tube going down as Gravedigger cuts that turn just a little too tight.
That is exactly what the call is going to be. Gravedigger is being called the winner as they come across the line because both trucks committed a violation. You throw them both out, and we're back to racing. And the officials, let's watch the finish because they say it's Gravedigger. That was a very tight run at the end. We were watching the DQs. There you see Dan Patrick clearly did not have both front wheels over the ramp.
Well, and as we're watching this, Dan Patrick is not happy with this decision at all.
No, he's livid. Boy, you see Dennis Anderson got in some trouble sliding out there. What a wild run.
Well, let's hear some more from the pace official on this.
We had a semifinal heat just now with Samson and Gravedigger. Now, Dan Patrick says he missed one jump on the side. He says that Gravedigger and Dennis Anderson hit a pole. They both should be DQ'd, and he said in the air he feels he won it, and the side view and the camera will prove that he won the race. What do we do about that? I went to him earlier. He said, Dan, no comment. Don't want to talk about it. Let it go.
Well, I was listening on the radio to my officials that were on top of it. They called the one infraction when the turning pole went down. They called the other infraction when Dan didn't hit the cars with both front wheels as they saw it. And when they both have penalties added to their times, then it goes back to whoever crosses the finish line first. So the call was made. It's another one of those things. Whether it was a ball or a strike, we'll live with it.
I mean, you know, family entertainment at its finest, but no matter what, these boys get in their cars, you're going to have some hairy moments.
Yeah, it is. And, you know, there's always protests. There's always conflicts in motorsports. When there's complaints where the only remedy is running it over again, you got to live with the decision.
Thanks for your time.
Good.
Back upstairs to you guys.
All right, Dan, and there you have it. So the winner indeed will stay. It is Gravedigger, and it's going to be Gravedigger and Bulldozer, and this is just what many people thought would happen. It's what Gravedigger wanted, that's for sure.
Well, it was a tough call, but certainly Roy Jansen standing behind his people, but no doubt, Dan Patrick has got a beef. I thought to the naked eye he won the race, but the officials didn't see it that way. Now we're going to Quad Wars. And